Okay, you ready for me? Can you hear me, really? That is so cool.
So where do you want me to hide? Over
Hey?
here on the couch? Can I go and lie down on the couch?
People are here.
Yeah.
I feel good.
They might want to sit over there.
Yeah. No, they're all good. Right. Is everyone here? Can everyone hear me? Obviously not yet. Oh, come on. Haven't even started and they're leaving. That's a bit of a bad rap, isn't it? Oh, no, come on. Okay. Right. How about we get started so we're not going to be late? Yeah? Is everyone happy? If anyone else comes rocking on in, that's absolutely brilliant. Come on in, guys. The water's great. Fantastic. Kia ora, everyone. How are you? Cool. My name's Jackie Marty and I work for Swimming New Zealand. And in association with Water Safety New Zealand, I am here to present about water skills for life. We'll go through a few things and explain, and then we have our fantastic Marty Gameson, who's going to talk to water skills for life from a school's point of view. Marty's the principal out at Hororata School, which is a fantastic wee school here in Canterbury. Okay, so water skills for life. We're lucky enough in New Zealand. We've got the fantastic rivers, brilliant lakes, and then, of course, our beaches. We're surrounded. It doesn't take you long to get to a body of water in New Zealand, very long at all. Each of these bodies of water have their own risks. We've got currents, we've got rips, we've got tides. Does anybody, as a matter of interest, know what temperature water is classed as cold in New Zealand? It's about 17 degrees. That's what people class as cold. The average water temperature in New Zealand is between 14 to 20 degrees. So that 17 sort of sits in the middle and people still class it as cold. So we don't actually get a lot of experience with our kids in that cold water. So this is by Stallman, Jung and Blitz, and I do apologise to them if I've got the pronunciation wrong, but we teach swimming indoors primarily. Drowning happens outdoors. So how many of our children get that experience of being able to swim in clothes, see what it's like to be in a different type of water, whether it be waves or a current? And we talk about swimming, but swimming is technical movements. Now, technical swimming, and people believe if their child learns to swim, they're going to be safe. But swimming skills are not necessarily survival skills. There's a difference. I'm asked to do some nice freestyle, beautiful technical strokes, high elbow, fingertip entry. But if I'm in trouble in the water, that's not necessarily possible. Do I know how to look after myself once I'm in there? Water Safety New Zealand has done some studies with Chris Button from the Otago University, and they found that out of 48 children that they studied in different water environments, 62%, I was going to say 69 then, 62% were unable to move through the water unaided or for 100 metres. They weren't able to do that unless they had something to hang on to. So, the findings from his studies, children aged 7 to 11 have the low level of skill competencies for survival skills, not our swimming skills, survival skills. Propulsion, so propulsion means getting from A to B. What is propulsion? It's using our hands, it's using our legs. But in what form? We think of propulsion, traditionally as kicking, but we could have survival backstroke. We've got treading water. We've got different things that we do with our legs, but they can't move. 49% unable to move for 100 metres through the water. 49% is a huge number. And the knowledge of risk and emergencies, that's low. So should they do this? Do we know the risk? Am I able to do this? Should I do this? What if somebody gets into trouble? If I have to, poor Marty's fallen into a body of water and I need to look after him, what am I going to do? How am I going to do it? Do I keep myself safe? Do I jump in after him? We want to encourage these tamariki to have that knowledge about making safe and wise choices to keep them safe. It's not all doom and gloom though, which is fantastic. So the encouraging evidence is that teaching survival skills helps improve competency. So we're giving these kids something that's a lot more practical than just technical swimming, which is absolutely fantastic. So you're going to say, okay, so what is Water Skills for Life? So Water Safety New Zealand and Swimming New Zealand have worked on a program that is for teachers to be able to deliver these skills to your kids in your class very, very simply. Because as a teacher, you've got a lot of expertise in so many different areas. We don't expect you to be a technical swimming instructor. Children will go to swim schools for that. They will learn to swim technical strokes in an environment with a swim school. What we want you guys to be able to do is take your children down to the pool, get them in, and have fun. Because as you know, as the experts in your industry, when kids are having fun, they learn. So we've got a lot of different competencies. There's 27 all up in the Water Skills for Life program. And if you think drowning happens just because drowning happens, I think we're slightly wrong there too. Drowning happens because of a sequence of events. This happened here, so this happened, then, oops, we have tragedy. So what we want to be able to do is get these children to think about, if I do this, what's going to happen? But we can teach them those sort of things in a controlled environment. And that's really good and nice and easy for them. So what sort of things do we cover off? Water safety and awareness. How to respect the water. How to look at it and go, should I or shouldn't I? Has the weather been a bit inclement over the last few days? Are rivers going to be changing differently? Are they going to change from what they were yesterday? Where I normally go swim? Potentially. So what do I look at? Do I go and swim there then? Okay, so the river or the lake's looking a bit murky today. Why is that? Shall I just jump in where I normally jump in? We want them to stop and think and have that moment. What to do in an emergency? That's really critical because we don't want to read in the headlines tomorrow that 4 died or drowned because 2 people got into trouble and 2 others went in to help them. We want them to think about how can they help somebody else but keep themselves safe as well. That is really, really critical. This doesn't want to go to the next one. We think about getting in and out of the water. How would you do it? How do you get in and out of the water? If you go swimming, you've got a school pool. What are the ways you do it? Jump, dive, steps, bomb. Hey, and that's the best part about it. If we teach them how to manu safely, do it because we're not about being killjoys. We want these kids to have fun and actually enjoy that aquatic adventure and excitement. But if you're going, you're on a boat and you fall out, how do you fall out? You don't do that nice little feet first jump that we all teach the kids at school. You're likely to go backwards. You're likely to go sideways. You're likely to fall in head first. Do the kids know what it feels like to do that in the water? A tumble turn, a backward flip, floating on their sides, different things that can just give them that opportunity to experience. It's all well and good saying we can get in, but can they get out? Give them the opportunity to experience a different way of getting in and out. Mix it up for them. Give them some opportunities. We were talking, Marty and I were talking earlier, the canals around Hororata have got sides that are aligned. So if a child fell into that body of water, how are they going to get out? If we can replicate something in our school pools, putting a mat on the side or something that's slippery and ask them to climb out, we're heading in the right direction because they have to stop and think, what parts of my body? How do I climb up here? How do I hang on and pull myself up? Do I use somebody else to help me? So getting in and out, we want different ideas, not the same old every time. Submersion. if we think of submersion, what is it, just going down and blowing bubbles? How about handstands? How about sitting on the bottom? Lying on the bottom on your tummy, lying on the bottom on your back. Get these kids under. Those that aren't that comfortable, have them holding hands playing seesaws. So you've paired them up with somebody who's a little bit more confident, but you've got this child that's nervous, but he's got somebody to hold on to and be happy with. Play games. Think about it differently. Floating, personal buoyancy. Swim schools will teach you to be a beautiful starfish, front and back. Doesn't really matter. If you're floating, you're floating. That's it. End of story. Whether your legs are down while you're floating on your back, but your face is out of the water, survival skill right there. You're breathing. You can carry on breathing that way. But get them to feel what it's like to float in a mushroom, face down, in a ball, the different buoyancy that they will feel. Can they float in the letter of their name? How do they get their body and move things around? Make it fun. Create an adventure for them and something they want to come back and do tomorrow. Because at the end of the day, what we would like to see are those children that forget to bring their togs. And we have lots of those kids. We want them to go, I'm missing out here. I want to be a part of this because I want to have fun in the water. Orientation, like I said earlier, if you fall off a jetty or a boat, or you're walking along the riverbank and the bank collapses, you're not going to fall in the most elegant way. Give them the opportunity to try tumble turns, forwards, backwards, sideways, rolling logs. You ask a child to swim down and just do a rolling log down the length of the pool, they're going to go, really? Can I do that? Because it's fun. And they'll go as fast as they can. They'll go as slow as they can. Get them to go down rolling one way, get them to come back rolling the other way. Mix it up. This is about having fun. And as I said, propulsion and movement through the water isn't necessarily about kicking. Can I do doggy paddle? Okay, so doggy paddle's got sculling hands and paddling hands. Sculling hands are used in every technical stroke for swimming. You're teaching foundation skills for swimming. Entries and exits, confidence, submersion, floating. Once you've got those things and you're gliding, and then you can add in your kicking, your arms, your breathing if you want to. But this is foundation swimming skills. And it's easy and it's fun. Doesn't have to be technically perfect. And that's what I really do love about Water Skills for Life. It's easy. Okay, so as I say, Water Skills for Life is about us as Swimming New Zealand coming to your school, supporting you as a teacher to deliver these sessions for your kids. We can either do workshops, which are about an hour and a half long, talk you through these competencies a lot more in depth and give you more ideas and things like that. But it's about you guys coming up. You know your tamariki that you're working with. What really spins their wheels? So what works for them? You know, I talk about one of the skills to reach is treading water for 5 minutes. 5 minutes is a long time. What can we do to make that different? Take a Yui boom down to the pool. Have the kids decide which song they like the best. Because what, your average pop song's about 3.5, 4 minutes or so? Play it for them. What is listening to that music going to do for them? Any ideas?
Take their mind off what they're doing.
Yeah. So they're going to be relaxed. They're going to be breathing because chances are they're going to be singing along. So it's really, really important to make sure that you know what you're doing is distracting the kids, giving them fun and letting them learn. So, you know, this is something that is really, really simple. It's not daunting. We want to take away that stress of swimming's coming up. I have to teach the kids technical swimming. Leave that to the swimming instructors. Have fun with your kids in the pool. You can take 30 kids for a 30-minute lesson, piece of cake. All different abilities. You can have them all doing the same but different. And it's nice and easy. We can provide support. We do have advisors like myself, so I'm based here in Otatahi, but we do have advisors in the North Island who cover from Auckland down, and obviously our Auckland guys are happy to go further north. and they can come to the school and support the teachers with Water Skills for Life poolside, or as I say, in our 1.5 hour workshops. Primarily 0 to year 8, but we also see the value in encouraging this to be going through to high school as well. So definitely don't ever write off the fact, because those kids, the sooner we can get to them and start helping them make those better decisions, our drowning statistics will come down, and that's what we're all about. If we can reduce our drowning statistics, that's the main aim. So has anybody got any questions on that before I hand over to Marty? Yes?
What are the drowning statistics? Because I know that New Zealand has a really high drowning rate for, I guess,
Yeah, they do. And I tell you what, if you go onto the Water Safety New Zealand website, their drowning statistics are actually updated weekly.
yeah.
It's a bit sad, really. But, you know, we've got age groups. We've got our 18 to 30-year-old males. But the surprising statistic, too, is also the older males. Because one of the things that can contribute to drowning or lack of ability in the water is our overestimation of our own ability. And we can say, I can do that. You know, I remember my son said, he'd entered the 100 metre swimming at school, and I said to his teacher, no way. I took him down to Kiwi 2. I said, the pool was at 50 metres. I said, get in and swim. He got halfway down and went, oh. I said, there you go. He thought he could. He was bulletproof at 9 years old. But we overestimate our own ability, and sorry, men, that generally tends to be one of the statistics. But that Water Safety New Zealand is fantastic for all the data. It breaks it down into ethnicities, regions, the whole lot. Some sad but great data. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah.
Is there a recommended ratio of adults to the students in water?
For a school? No, but I would suggest no more. You'd have your class, a maximum. I have been in schools where I take one class of 30. The teacher is also there, though. So that's two sets of eyes on the class. If you go to a facility, generally they'll have a 1 to 10 ratio, but it is something that you'd have to agree upon with your school for sure. Anything else? I've got a wee clipboard here. If I haven't got any of your information already and you'd like to have some information sent out to you and you're interested, please pop this down and we will get onto that for you. But I thank you for your time in coming, because I know it is late in the conference, and I hope you have enjoyed what you've learned so far with some of the other guest speakers. So I'm going to hand over to Marty now, and we will be good to go. So thank you for your time.
While we just set up, can I just say from a school
perspective, we talk about 1 to 6 around water. However, we expand that by saying eyes on water. So it's actually the 1 to 6 ratio is a bit of a nonsense, because you're assuming that that one person can actually swim. And it's like when you go on a trip with parents, and they all stand on the beach and they look at the kids, and half of them can swim and half of them are useless. So we talk about eyes on water, but we always make sure that there is 2 swimming capable people by the poolside. Yeah, so eyes on water can be students. Yeah. I have set a professional goal this year to present a mihi or a brief introduction at every speaking that I do. So I welcome your feedback on Facebook about the quality of my mihi today. So, or just write notes. So tēnā koutou e hui hui mai nei. Koe rua te kau mā tahi oku o tau e noho ana I Horata. Ko te tumuakia hau I te kura tuatahi o Horata. Ko au te kairahi tumuakia hau I te hu kakapatahi kahui ako. Ko Māori Gameson taku ngawa. E hara taku toa I te toa tahi engare te toa takitini. E aku hoa tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. So greetings to you all here today. I've lived in Horata and worked at Horata for 21 years. And some of you will go, wow, that's a long time. And I get that from my colleagues when I meet them every time. They say to me, hey, have you thought about moving on? And my wife gets nervous. We've been together 35 years and nobody's ever suggested I move on from that relationship. So I'm sticking with Hororata because it's a great place to be and invite you all there now. I am the principal at Hororata Primary School and I'm also the lead principal of the Melbourne Kahuiako. So we are 8 primary schools, 1 high school and 8 early childhood centres, which I actually facilitate the professional development and learning in them. My name's Marty Gameson. And the success that you hear from me today is not mine alone. It's the success of the collective and the people that I work with. So my friends, greetings to you all. And put a wee pepeha up there, not to bore you or to skite about my family and how good looking they are, but just to give you some context about what I'm going to talk to you about today. Thanks, mate. Our school, Hororata Primary School, we are in the country. If you jump in a car now, we're about 56 minutes towards the mountains. We're at the foothills of the Southern Alps, and right now the roads are extremely busy with everybody heading to Mount Hutt. So we're this quiet little place that during most of the year we might see 5 or 6 cars, every hour. At the moment, we're probably tracking 300 or 400 an hour. Just a warning, if you ever come through Hororata, it's a great place for the police to sit. Yeah. Hey, so we are a state school. We are a year 1 to 8 school. We have 80 little angels at our school, which is quite interesting because 2 weeks ago I had 90. Then I lost 12 families and now I have 80. And that's because we're a dairy school. We have a transient community. At my school today, I'm proud to say we have 15 different nationalities, and we have 25% of my role at my school do not speak English. So the challenges of getting foreign students in the pool is amazing because they come from countries where they don't actually have swimming pools or PE or things like that. Over the past 10 years, we've worked really hard to shape our local curriculum. And our local curriculum has been shaped by the fact that one time, and still today it's a challenge for us, is we had 2 to 1 boys to girls. I have 3 year levels at my school with no girls. And the girls that we do will go on to be prime ministers and doctors and leaders as well because they've grown up with the boys. We have a diverse school population, so we're very transient. And we also had a lot of competition in our community. So I know what it's like in the city, and we have competition. Even though it's 26 kilometres to the school up the road in either direction, we still can get on a school bus and go to 4 different schools from my front gate. We actually were forced to transform ourselves. So what we did was we rebranded. We slapped on a new school uniform. We remodeled our pedagogy a fair bit. And we focus on the why, what, and the how. So today I'm going to talk to you about why this is so important to us, what we do, and how you can make it happen. So I'm coming from the principal's office, and for many of you, I'm the greatest challenge you will have, is getting ideas past me. So one of the big things we decided that we were going to do, my board were very tempted to go down and confront the principals up the road and give them an earful and give them a bit of rural Canterbury discipline, but we decided we reinvent ourselves and we came up with special character. And our special character is our active culture and our learning culture. These are very simple things for us to do. So active culture in brief is about encouraging our children to make responsible choices for their free time. So we didn't come in here and say that we're going to create All Blacks, although I'd like a few. We actually promote active. So we have gardening programs, we have dance programs, we have yoga, we have running harriers groups, we have ski groups, we have multi-sport groups, we have Gaelic football groups. So this is really important to us because behind this sat a 2 to 1 ratio of boys. And boys are active, as you know. Most boys. Let's not paint them all with the same brush. So we have a philosophy in our school that every 20 minutes we're on the move. So every class moves every 20 minutes. And we promote this as one of our values and one of the important things. And from this groundswell, we not only achieved a lot of success, but our community started doing it as well. And if you come out to Hororata, you'll know about the Highland Games and all of the things we do out in little old Hororata. So when we created the active culture, we said well, hauora and well-being are the most important thing to us. Okay, we wanted physical activity in our school, no matter what it was, whether it was dance, whether it was gymnastics, skiing, horse riding, running, rugby. We wanted it highly valued. We promote it as a key learning area. So as my expectation as tūmwaki that I see our children engaged in activity every day. Is well-resourced and planned for. So that's the main thing. As a principal, we will tick the box off and we will say, oh yeah, we had Canterbury basketball. They came out for a day and they talked to assembly. Or we had the netballers come out, or we had Jackie come out for a day. And in our minds, we're ticking the box to say, actually, we're an active school. We actually plan for it. It's in our charter, it's in our budget, and it's in our monitoring plans. And by doing this, we wanted to promote physical activity as being important for everyday life. This is a life skill we're talking about. So this made it really easy to talk to my board. We have a little back word there that we want our children to achieve success as individuals, as a team, in competitive environment, but in recreation. So when I talk to parents and we get these competitive parents that come to you all the time, should I be out there paying this kid more money to score more tries? And we say, your child needs to achieve success as an individual. They need to have the skills to work as a team because that's the world we live in. But they also need to have physical activity that they can pursue to relax them. And that's where swimming and things like that come in. We wanted to engage our parents. It meant for many of our parents, some of them are upskilled. But for us, we went out and we have representatives from all over the world. And just in the last few days, I've discovered that I have 3 South African athletes that have been to the Olympics and things for sports. Why haven't I engaged them to come into my school to teach those sports? And that's because I didn't dig deep enough, So this is our school grounds. We're nestled into 6 hectares. We actually have a farm on our school. These are the cows. At the moment, we don't have cows. We have cooney pigs and goats. We had to get rid of our cows because of some religious restraints we had from some of our families, which is another thing that schools deal with. The other thing that we did, we introduced our learning culture, and that's where we wanted our children to think outside the box and use flexibility and creativity. This place is the exemplar of what we want to achieve at our school. But one of the interesting things here, and the message that I want to send home with you guys today, is one of my friends who's a guru in this space said to me, Marty, I think you pay far too much attention to thinking outside the box. Is that why that we have so many marriage breakups? Is this why people are leaving jobs all the time? Is this why so many people are leaving your school and going other places? So that was a career move for me when I changed the language there to thinking inside the box. I have 6 hectares. I have an awesome community. I have a great board. Why do I need to go to another school to make a difference? I can actually make a big difference here. So in terms of the needs and considerations we did here, we still teach the 3 R's, but we actually teach with our hands. And our message is we teach through the hands that goes to the head and then it rests in the heart. And that's about our kids. This is a disposition or their default as being active. I'll let you read that. But behind the scenes with our school, we also want our kids to leave a footprint in our community because only a small percentage of our children will actually end up living in Horata. Most of our kids will leave. So we want them to leave something when they're an old toto like me. They can go back and tell their whānau, hey, I did that. So that's the rare breeds program with our cows, the native birds program with our chook program, our poultry program, and the native plants with our junior propagation program. So, getting our feet wet. How does this all fit together? We're an active school. We focus on providing a thing called Sports Start. You're familiar with Sports Start? Oh, geez, I'll go. You can take over now. Sports Start is a big move for schools because we've moved away from being sports specific to fundamental skills. My dream is the skills that I teach the children, they will be able to pick up any piece of equipment and be a star. And that's where, talking to the guys with Gaelic football, we talked about the fundamental sports skills that we're learning, and they go, oh, do you do this? I go, yeah. Oh, they'll be brilliant at this. So swimming and aquatics plays a really important part of that. So movement through water, spatial awareness, all of those the physical literacy, keeping yourself safe, they're all huge. So with that reason, swimming is really, really important to us. So aquatics instruction, including water safety, is embedded into our school curriculum. So you'll hear schools, they talk about, they do it. It's actually embedded in us. Okay, and it's a tool that we celebrate what we're doing outside. So movement, the dance teacher that we have, she can actually do the same in the pool. And it emphasizes what you're talking about, the movement. My gymnastics coach loves to get the kids in the swimming pool. And they do all their gymnastics in the pool, their dives, their jumps, their tumbles. But at the same time, it's giving kids confidence about moving through water. To complement this vision, we actually set some bizarre strategic goals. Your principal had this charter that you've never read, right? And we spent hours writing it with our boards of trustees. And in that, my community have asked some goals. So many of my children, their driveways are longer than 1 kilometre. Okay? And for many of my children, they have to run more than 1 kilometre to get help if something goes wrong at their place. So one of our goals is everybody, including my staff, all have to be able to run 1 kilometre non-stop. And guess what? We just achieved that. We PB, will GPS track all our kids for cross countries and all their running activities. So PB is really important to us. But we also have a really unusual goal around our swimming. We have a 25-metre swimming pool. Our children have to be able to swim 4 lengths of that pool before they leave and demonstrate water safety skills up to a level. So to achieve this, we have 10 to 15 weeks of aquatics. We've contracted a 3-year contract with Canterbury Swim School, and they come out. We have Jackie come out to our school, and I don't know if you know, but this is free. So if you want to get things past the principal, it's really easy. You go, it's free. And even bring coffee, I think. And so the idea was for me is we wanted to do sustainable professional development for my teachers, not that one-off thing that relied on a program all the time. So this is sustainable. Jackie comes out, she empowers my teachers then put it in the classroom. We're really lucky because all my teaching team are passionate about water. So we have swimming instruction with the experts in the morning, and the kids get into the pool again in the afternoon, and they get to do water safety. We have been also fortunate that the ministry gods have just shone on us, and by the end of this year, we will have spent nearly $500,000 on our pool to upgrade it, which is the bonus for us. As I was saying to Jackie earlier, we are starting winter swimming. And I love your comment about the temperature. So when I went there, the previous principal used to write the temperature of the pool up on the window, and the teachers would go over and they'd go, too cold today, we won't be swimming today, right? So the first thing I did as a leader was I rubbed out the temperature. So our kids will swim at about 6 or 7 degrees. This morning we had a -5 frost at Horata, so they'll be swimming in that, and they love it. And my lesson is when you go to the lake, there's no sign saying the water temperature. When we take the kids to beach education in Christchurch, there's no sign on the beach that says it's 15 degrees. And I'm surprised that the average temperature is 17 because the average temperature in my house, and I live in a schoolhouse, is like 14 degrees. So we also, as part of this, we don't rely solely on this, but we also participate in some pretty innovative programs run by the Selwyn Sports Trust in lakes. We have some cave stream walking stuff. We have a biennial beach education program, a sailing program. And this is all about our kids having confidence around the water. Okay. So making a difference. One of the key words for us is quality. And as I said to you before, it's really easy for a tumuaki to tick off the box and put into the end of the speech that we did this. For me, the measure is we've got to do it well, and it's got to leave an imprint in my school. So we are focused on that for our team. We also participate in all of our local regional sports. We engage swim. We have a 3-year contract, and schools can do this. And I'm not going to lie to you, that costs our little school $6,000 to $7,000 a year. to get them in. We have you guys in for free, and this year we've got you in twice. In fact, we probably would have seen you 3 times by the end, and we've got our the other local schools coming to join us because we are lucky with our pool size. We also have a 1.8 metre diving end, which is great to get boats and kayaks and everything into the pool. We deliver teacher-led programs promoting this. So the teachers take on board this. We debrief it as part of our PLG program, and then the teachers do it. And like I say, we always have 2 there, but we actually have a program called the Whakatipu Kahautu program, and that is we coach all of our Year 6s in leadership. So we have them in the pool with the kids. So if it's a 5-year-old swimming, our Year 6 kids get time out of their class for 20 minutes to be in the pool with the little dudes. And they run all of our sports programs at school. And then we participate in the Surf Lifesaving program. We'd like to do that every year. The cost of that's quite expensive. It's about $13 a child for us, but it costs us about $15 a child to get the buses into town. So we come from there to the beach. It's massive. So for me to take my school to the beach every year, it's probably around $1,200–1,400. And the can sail program, which is awesome. If you've never heard of the can sail, kids learn to go in an old boat and sail it around Littleton Harbour. So making ends meet. Big question is, and the principal is going to say to you every time, how much is this going to cost, right? This is where you've got to be creative and go back to what I said right at the start. It's about creative thinking. We want that for our kids. If you use this, you can achieve anything in a school. So we've prioritised this within our school. When you prioritise something within a school, this has knocked off our music program this year. So swimming is a life skill for us, okay? And I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Dead kids don't learn, okay? We have prioritised this within our environment as being really important. So we're not teaching music this year, and I'll make an apology to a parent, but I will say your child will be safe. Strangely, in school, we actually also teach railway crossing as part of our health and safety. You know, there's not a railway crossing for 50 kilometres, but I have to teach it. But there's actually a swimming pool and a lake and rivers and canals and ponds all around me. The danger is imminent. So it's highly valued for us. The programs offered at our school are offered by the Board of Trustees, so we pay for them. We don't charge our families. We have an active program, so none of our families pay for anything in that area in the school. We're a Decile 9 school. But we do have sponsors on. So part of my challenge was going to the community and said, who would like to step up and pay for this? And so this year our sponsors will be paying about $11,000, which will benefit 80 children. Absence of that, as I said, this year the board had to make a judgment. COVID kind of clobbered our sponsors a wee bit, right? So this year we actually had to go to the cheaper coffee in the staff room and actually say to the music teacher, hey, we're going to have a season off. The swimming pool is really important to us. We work with you guys, which is a free resource, and it's a sustainable resource. So it is something that my teachers can have a go at without fear of getting it wrong. And then you come back and we tune up, and you're always available to tune up. So, and now the focus, we focus less on my teachers teaching the kids to swim. And you heard from Jackie, probably at my school, there would be 10 kids at the moment that are hauled to Christchurch 4 times a week at 5 o'clock in the morning to do swimming training. Their parents would kill me if I ever stood on the side of the pool and tried to change their swimming techniques, because they're paying big dollars for this. But I'm also a fool not to acknowledge that I've got all of these swimmers at my school. Why aren't they teaching? Because the best way for kids to learn is to teach. So finishing touches. Okay, learning to swim and making a wise choice is a fundamental life skill. Okay, it's one of the most important things that I can gift the kids with at my school, is that life skill. It is important, and I would say it is more important than actually learning to swim. Okay, if you can't save yourself, well, we learn this. The kids that fall in the canal are not going to use breaststroke, backstroke, or butterfly to save their lives. They're actually going to use wisdom and the prior learning that we've got. The school curriculum should deliver a balance of this. Okay? And I'll tell you why a balance, because it gets boring if we're doing water safety all the time. We can deliver an effective program when we prioritise this. So this is about the board and going to your board and saying what is the most important thing. And when we think outside the box, as I've had to do in my job, and be flexible and creative, we can actually achieve anything. We can give the kids the message that we want. Most importantly, this is the message that I take home. I get excited when I go to my board because I'm a bit of a blue sky thinker. So I go to my board with ideas. Let's have a farm at the school. Let's lease the neighbour's property and put a farm on it. My board once upon a time used to say, what does it cost? When you get bogged down with the cost of things, you forget about the importance of things. I've trained my board to start with that. What will the kids get out of this? So if you can get your board to answer your question when you say, hey, what about an aquatics water safety program? And how about we couple up with a school down the road and we put our kids on the bus and we go down there? You would hope that they would start with, what are the kids going to get out of this? Because the costs are relevant. If it costs, well, it costs us, I can tell you, it costs us $30,000 to take our kids to Wellington for camp. But that's not the biggest challenge. The biggest challenge is getting those kids on an aeroplane that don't want to leave home. We can get that money. So I thought I'd just finish with a few funnies about our school. This is the slide that I couldn't fill. These are my little angels in the pool. The day of the water temperature on that day, you can see, it was about 6 degrees. We were multi-sport training for the triathlon. Our pool first opened in 1924. It was opened through funds from Sir John Hall, was a Prime Minister of New Zealand. Why I put this up is because when our pool first opened, we know this for a fact that our girls were not allowed to swim with the boys in the pool. They had separate classes because of their costumes, and if ladies were in the pool, they had to fully cover their bodies. We also know that it was a funny time for us because it came out of the creek beside the school. And the legend is that the pool every morning, that the older kids had to dive in and get all the frogs and the cockabillies out of the pool. And even in the 1950s, you couldn't see the bottom of the pool for the mud in the pool. But since then, it's still valued. The next one is the greatest. It's our 150th Jubilee this year, so I've been doing some research, right? In the 60s, my little school was the surf life-saving champions in Canterbury for 3 years in a row. And we're landlocked. We're like an hour and 30 minutes from the sea. But we had somebody in our school that had a vision, and that vision was our kids need to learn to be safe and swim. And the little lesson, and you hear this all the time, that there's no money for pools. It's not actually the dollar sign we need to change, it's the thinking that needs to change. It's there if you are prepared to tip over a few stones. Maybe 21 years of stones it took me, but they're there. Do you have any questions?
Jackie and Marty, kia ora, thank you very much for your... Oh, you finished? You finished. On behalf of, my name's Lynn and I'm a teacher at Otahu College and I'm on EHEA. So my experience is the exact opposite, but we also value water safety at our school, so we do not teach any technique at all now, so it's all water safety. About 3 weeks ago I just received $10,000 to get 30 life jackets for our students at school. So that's all that we teach now in Term 1. So it was really interesting to hear from a primary perspective. Our schools are probably the exact opposite. Yeah, thank you very much for sharing your mahi and your experiences with us today. So thank you very much.
If anyone wants to leave any information that we can get that out to them, if you want to come and chat to us, we're here, happy to talk, always happy to talk. That's the London way. So yeah, thank you all for taking the time out and coming to beautiful Christchurch.
Thanks.